this is Grillenheimer. Let's try this again. Finally have something going on. Got Donkey Kong Jr. in the background. The arcade, which has a bit of a spin for us tonight, which is The Power of Now Part 2. Now, The Power of Now, and this is where I was wanting to go with this originally, that's why I'm doing another part to this, is I'm hoping this is, let me just do it this way so I can hear myself a little better, so I'm not screaming and everyone is asleep but me, as far as I know. Action verbs. Things we can do now. We can pray. We can think about making choices. And we can take an action. Doing something. Taking action. And all these are action verbs for the most part. Praying, thinking, doing. And it's all about right now, this very moment. Now, I do say that a lot, don't I? I'm sorry. The funny thing is I don't know, I had this is going to sound extremely stupid, but I got to thinking how now, such as an unusual time, an unusual moment, this moment right here. But what if time wasn't linear? What if right now the Revolutionary War just ended? What if right now the Civil War is actually still going on? What if right now the French Revolution is happening? What if right now Buddha is alive? What if right now King Arthur is a real person? And I got to thinking about that, and that's how this was all created and spurned. How our version of now is the very present. Not the past, not the future. When history is being made, we don't know it. For the most part, we really don't know when history is being made until it's happened. When you're doing it, you don't know you're doing it. You don't know you're making history because history is in the past. But at some point, our history was a part of someone's future, right at that now moment. So with the power of that in mind, we have to imagine, our family. Now is the present. Now is the past. Now is the future. So at this very time, if we are truly spiritual beings of light, part of something bigger, part of God, children of God, okay, then those spirits are with us, good spirits. Our deceased is with us now. Our family is with us now. Our unborn is with us now. I don't want to get too deep into that, but there it is. Let's keep moving on. And I have 4 parts to this, that our family is with us now. And I just went over this. Our deceased are with us now. Our unborn are with us now. And 4, Jesus is with us now and always. Something to think about. Something to think about. Now, the power of now, there is an evil. There is a power of now that is also the antithesis of this thought process, because this moment here is key. Every moment in our life is key. And Satan is all around us. Evil is all around us. If we are spiritual beings, there are other spiritual beings against us that we can't see. If these demons are real, and these demons are true, because Jesus himself cast out demons and he gave that power to his apostles, then we have distractions. And not only that, we can have false comforts. Satan can give us false comforts, a sense of security, and a sense of security is like a temporary blankie. You know, think of a toddler with their blankie. If you take their blankie away, whoa, get out of the way. You know, you're gonna see a fit with that now moment. In something like a blankie, we have to outgrow it. We have to outgrow, the sense of comfort, the sense of temptation, of false comforts of the world. And we need to replace these worldly comforts with the grace of God. Through his grace we are saved. Now 3, we also have to beware of emotional crutches. Our emotions. This is where the rest of this video is going to play out, with parts of emotion. You know, remember my ridiculous drawing that I did? That I'm not going to worry about it. This is some of that, not all of that, but some of that. And I mentioned in the previous video, I think, if that was the one I uploaded, Asia was an old 80s group, and they did I'm wearing a red shirt. Oops. And anyway, they did a song called The Heat of the Moment. I can't remember the lyrics right now, but it's something to look up. The Heat of the Moment, which is a part of Now, but it's, you know, just taking the title alone, there's probably dealing with temptation and passion there, and it was a secular song with a secular group for the most part, so there's not a whole lot of meaning there, but we can take that and use that to say, maybe there's something to this. So let's start. Number 1, emotional crutches. 1 Corinthians 10:13. Now, I don't have all these verses written out. So for your homework, you need to keep up with what I'm saying and write these verses down to go back and read them in context later. 1 Corinthians 10:13. Enduring temptation. It is about enduring temptation, and it deals with all sin, all types of sin, and how through God we are able to endure sin and the temptation of it, that he's not going to give us more than we can take. 2, and is that an emotional crutch? In a sense, yes. Because if we're in the power of a moment, and when we are so in our emotions, so wrapped up in our emotions, we are lacking the control. You got me, the lack of control to prevent ourselves from acting on temptations of sin. That's the first part of this. 2, Proverbs 16:32. And it's dealing with anger. Go read that verse. Put me on pause. Proverbs 16:32. Oh, goodness. I can't read my writing again. Anger and, okay, that's right. Comparing being slow to anger. Because all of us are quick to anger. We could try to utilize patience. We need to try to utilize humility. But in everything that we do, we need to be slow to anger. Slow to anger to our spouses, to our kids, to our customers, whoever you're serving, whoever you're under, because we are all under somebody. We're under our parents, we're under our bosses, we're under our VPs, we're under our CEOs, we're under our supervisor, we're under our managers, we're under all sorts of stuff. And it's not exactly slavery, but in a way it is. And the Bible even talks about not exactly equality, but it does, quality of love between masters and slaves, and how they should treat each other as well in that kind of a relationship. Let's just keep going. 3, Galatians 5 verses 16 through 24. And basically, here we are again. Emotions, especially teenagers, wrapped up in their emotions. They're not adults, and they don't have full control over themselves. And this can go even for adults as well. Lusts, sexual conduct or sexual misconduct, homosexuality, immorality, sexual immorality. It's all in there. That's like 8 verses. Galatians 5, 16 through 24. Read it. And it's basically the spirit versus the flesh. And how it... emotions. And including idolatry and anger management to some extent. Things we just have to work for. It's us being in 2 worlds at the same time. The spiritual world and the real world. We're here, we have to live it, but we have to be able to control our emotions, because we are in a spiritual world at the same time. And when we're done here, it's a whole new ballgame. We have to survive here. We have to do the best at what we're doing. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 26 through 27. Again, it's all about anger. Anger is popping up a lot in these. And I don't have any of these verses in any exact order. It's just, things that I've found that really seem to pertain to this. Proverbs 12:16. Ignoring insults. Again, this is all about self-control. We have to control ourselves. What did have I mentioned before? Watching our tongue, watching what we say. That's down here too, but not the same verse. If someone is lashing out at you, you have to be pragmatic to be able to take it and ignore it. It is not bullying. It is simply teasing and someone being mean to you and being mean-spirited or whatever, using whatever kind of language, and they're trying to incite you. We live in a world where you can go on TV to see reactions for entertainment. You can go online and see reactions for entertainment. You can get on YouTube and Facebook and Pinterest and wherever, tons of places, and be entertained at people's reactions. People want to get a reaction out of you. They want to get a rise out of you. They want to get under your skin and see how mean and mad you can get, how quick to anger you can get. That was my life as a teenager. I was quick to anger, and I almost had the nickname Donald Duck because they were so good at trying to, they knew if they said something to me, I would turn around and I'd get mad, and I had to learn to control myself. And I'm like, I can't take this. I've got to just ignore it. And once I started to ignore the teasing, they finally slowly quit. And it went from elementary school on through junior high school. Once you be able to be as pragmatic, to be able to ignore the insults, that's part of maturity right there. And there's a lot of adults and a lot of politicians that are good at this because they understand they give the right insult, they're going to get the right reaction, and they got that other person hook, line, and sinker and can manipulate them any way they want. We have to be pragmatic and ignoring insults. The power of now being the better person, being an adult, showing your maturity. This is what this is all about. No matter what age you are. No matter what age you are. Number 6, 1 John 2, verse 16. Drawn by sight, the lure of attraction. Read this verse, 1 John 2:16, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The lure of attraction. Be careful about what you see and how you see it. We are just all people. We are all the same under our clothes, whether you're a guy or a girl, or whether that girl tries to think she thinks is a guy, or a boy thinks he's something else, and what are your pronouns first? All this crap is going to stop one day. It's going to have to stop because it's not real. It's not pragmatic. It's not practical. We have to stop this mess, and it's got to stop somewhere. And this is part of that, of a bigger picture of all of us. And like I said, I had an old friend of mine from high school, and I thought it was the funniest thing. And he's like, we're all naked under our clothes. And I thought, that is so factual, it's funny, and it was hilarious. We all just laughed because, once you see one guy, you know what all guys look like. Once you see one girl, you know what all girls look like. There is no mystery really anymore. But let's keep going. And greed and materialism are also part of 1 John 2:16. Proverbs 25, verse 28. Proverbs chapter 25, verse 28 is about having no self-control. Letting evil and temptation in can fester in your spirit. When you have no self-control, you're allowing yourself to be baited for bad things to enter you, to bad things to attract you and attack you. And when you accept that, and you accept that hook, line, and sinker, and that you get that worm on that hook, and it looks really tasty, and you don't realize it's a worm, it can grow. Luke chapter 6, verses 45. This is kind of almost seems for something very similar. If your spirit is in to materialism, your tongue will lash out with no control. It's not verbatim, but it's close. If your spirit, we have a spirit. If you are completely in the world, in the world view, you're not going to have control over not your thoughts, but your tongue. You may say things when you least expect it, and it can hurt other people. Yes, that does go against what I just mentioned, but then we're not talking about your victims. We're talking about you. So this goes both ways. We have to watch our tongue. Just like I've said many times before. And when someone's loose tongue is getting onto you, you have to be pragmatic and adult enough to be able to ignore it. Does that make sense? It makes complete sense. It is not a contradiction. It's just the lashing can go both ways. We can give it, we need to take it. All right? This may be a three-parter here. 9 and the last one, I believe, Ephesians 5, verse 18. And that's an interesting verse, by the way. Oh, sorry. It's about drinking and wine and drunkenness. What it does to us. We lose all control. What is this centering around? Self-control. Having the control of ourselves within the where? The moment. The right now. We have choices. You have a choice. You have the choice to accept the temptation or not. You have the choice to pray right now, to think about your decisions, and then taking action on the sin or against the sin. And yes, this is what this is all about. The power of